Here we are for another On the Run. Where are we? Somewhere with nice gardens. Tell you on the other side of the plane. Welcome everybody to On the Run yet again. Friday the 19th of January for you, late in the afternoon of Thursday the 18th of January for me, and I can now reveal the surprise location, or at least what the second surprise location was, where I am now. I am in the lovely Hobart, Tasmania. Yes, in my very own backyard, literally in my house, and very nice backyard it is too. Lovely little deck here with a fence around it and garden in the back. The weather is not so great right now, but it has been very nice down here. So this is where it all began for yours truly. 37 years, 1 month and 2 weeks ago. Yes, it was early December 1986, the first time I set foot in a casino. And that was, of course, Rest Point Casino in Hobart, where I am now, Australia's first ever casino. Anyway, let's get on with the On the Run and the news of the week. I've got 8 stories to talk to you about this week, and let's get cracking. So we're going to do it geographically. So let's start with Sri Lanka, story number 8. So there was an increase in fees for casinos announced by the Ministry of Finance. And this probably signals the introduction of a formal regulator. In fact, Sri Lanka has said they want to introduce a formal regulator. They say that they lost probably US 7.4 million in taxes last year by not having a more formal regulator that could track GGR, and they just pay, at the moment casinos there pay on the sort of Southeast Asian model of a flat fee because they don't have a government body that can really track the GGR. So this reminds me of how Cambodia used to be, and Cambodia is now fixing that problem. It looks like Sri Lanka wants to do the same. There are 6 legal casinos in Cambodia at the moment, and their existing fees sort of range around the single digit to low double digit millions. There's different fees for different year numbers, year 1 to 5, year up to year 15. There's different fees for establishing a casino, but they're all sort of a few million, maybe 10 million, 20 million, 5 million, 1.5 million. They're all single digit, double digit millions. And obviously the Sri Lankan government feels they could get more if they had a proper regulator, and I think perhaps even the operators would welcome a proper regulator, because it would allow them to be in a more regulated environment, which could allow them to list and get access to international funding and so forth, which I think is the case in Cambodia too. Okay, on to Russia now, and a very interesting story this week that got a lot of hits. An exodus from the boards of both Summit Ascent and Let Group Holdings have left Andrew Lowe as the sole director for both of those companies. 5 directors of Summit Ascent resigned en masse, as did 3 directors of Let Group Holdings, as I said, leaving Andrew on his own. And they cited a transaction that they were not happy about, and although they didn't officially say what that transaction was, it's pretty clear that it was the sale of G1 Entertainment, the operating entity that operates Tigre de Cristal, the casino in Vladivostok owned by Summit Ascent, to a Russian firm. Clearly Andrew wants to focus on West Side in the Philippines, in Entertainment City, and wants to kind of move away from the Vladivostok property. The sale was for $116 million US dollars, and obviously all the other directors are not happy with that for some reason, but the 2 companies involved have come out and said, well, we'll get new directors. So a little bit of excitement there, a little bit of controversy there. And of course Let Group Holdings is the former Sun City listed entity, and Andrew Lowe took over after Alvin Chow was of course jailed for 18 years. Okay, let's move on to a far more regulated environment. Singapore, a country that's going gangbusters in our industry lately. And if you needed any further evidence of this, MBS, Marina Bay Sands, came out today for me, yesterday for you, and said, look, we're going to invest another US $750 million in renovations and additional investment into the property. This is on top of the $1 billion US dollars they've already invested in phase one of the renovations and the capital improvements to Marina Bay Sands. So, and all of this 1 billion, or now 1.75 billion, is separate to the 3.3 billion they've committed for the fourth tower, the tower that's going to go at the tower one end of the existing three towers. So they're going to have 550 redesigned rooms, including 380 suites. They expect to complete this in 2025, which is just next year now, because we're in 2024, of course. They're going to revamp Tower 3, which is the far tower from the main entrance at Tower 1, and the Sky Park up the top, and build a new VIP arrival experience. So look, overall, more than $5 billion US being invested into Marina Bay Sands over this whole phase one, phase two, the fourth tower, all of that, as is being done by Resorts World Sentosa as well. We reported that last week, a $5 billion investment, well, a few weeks ago, and I commented on it last week. So a really lot of money, over 10 billion US dollars, being reinvested into integrated resorts in Singapore. That's great to see, and I think a vote of confidence in the Singapore IR industry. It's going very, very well indeed. Certainly the most profitable IR industry in the world. Not the biggest revenue, but certainly the biggest profits per IR, that is for sure. All right, let's head over to the Philippines now, our number 2 market in Asia. From the number 3 market, Singapore, to the number 2 market, the Philippines. And our first story from the Philippines this week is that Okada Manila reported their Q4 2023 results. Not good results, and I think we all know why. Down 25% quarter on quarter. Now, this is, of course, most likely, we imagine there was no commentary on it, but we're going to commentate the so-called IT outage, is what we're calling it. Others are calling it a cyber attack. And of course, this took all the slot machines out for a few days, but also did mess up a lot of systems, a lot of Okada Manila's systems for weeks, even a month or two. I think pretty much everything is back now, but I did see them with a GGR of only 167 million for Q4, down 25% sequentially from Q3, and you'd expect Q4 to be better than Q3. The Philippines, the Q4 is a big month. Q3 has only got July, August, and September, only one of the Burr months. But Q4, of course, has 3 Burr months, October, November, and December. And being a Catholic nation, and Christmas is a big thing, and just Q4 is a really big quarter in the Philippines, so you'd expect it to be better than Q3, not 25% worse. I guess we could do some sums here and do some analysis. The adjusted segment EBITDA was down 19% to 41 million US. So if we say that, let's call it 20% between friends, and let's call it 40 million US, if 20% is 40 million, or it was down 20% to 40 million, then obviously you would say it should have been 50 million at 100%, just putting aside the whole Q3, Q4 thing. So did it cost them 10 million US dollars? I mean, the cyber attack on MGM Resorts in the US, they say it cost them $100 million. If such a thing cost Okada Manila 10 million US dollars, kind of would be in proportion, maybe even a little bit more expensive. I mean, MGM Resorts as a company, not just in Las Vegas, but across the entire North America, is more than 10 times bigger than Okada Manila. So maybe it cost them even more. Anyway, look, it's all in the past now. It's all in history. Okada Manila moves on. I believe they are over all of those issues now. But it wasn't a great quarter for them. Who knows what 2024 will bring? As I've said a few times before, finally they're clear of all their black swan events and their extraneous issues, and 2024 could really be the year that Okada Manila takes it to Solaire. So that Okada Manila Solaire competition in the Philippines for the number one, number two spot. Solaire's currently definitely in number one. There's no doubt about that. But it will be an interesting battle, corporate battle, and competition for a company like IAG to observe. Very interesting indeed. Now to our number 4 story for the week. PAGCOR. PAGCOR came out and said that they expect, or the chairman and CEO Alejandro Tengo, who obviously I have interviewed quite a number of times, and we had him on the cover of IAG last year in 2023. He came out and said that they expect the GGR of the Philippines in 2024 to reach 6 billion, which is incredible, after they confirmed that it was 5.1 billion in 2023. We actually had 2 stories in IAG this week about this. One about the 2023 GGR and one about the 2024 GGR. So the 2023 GGR was 5.1 billion US, and Tenko said that this exceeded all of their most optimistic expectations. 3.7 billion of it was from the IRs, 1.0 billion of it was from the e-games, and the Casino Filipino, the PAGCOR properties, contributed 0.4 billion, so 400 million. He expects that to increase some, 20% almost, 18% I guess, from 5.1 billion to 6 billion would be 18%. And he expects that growth to be through new IRs opening. We know there are new IRs coming to the Philippines in 2024, and also e-games growth. He said that he expected the casinos in 2024 to contribute 4.6 billion, just the casinos. So that's up from 4.1 billion in 2023, which is, 11% increase, so a big number. And apparently from his comments, and all of this was in comments to the Philippine media, from his comments he said that they will continue to support the IGLs, the former POGOs, we call them IGLs now, and he said, look, there's 70,000 Filipinos employed in that industry. It takes up 625,000 square meters of space. It's an industry to be supported, and unless he's barred from doing so, he expects to issue more IGL licenses, not POGO licenses. Why is there such amazing growth going on in the Philippines? I mean, this is what you get from IAG that you don't get from other media. They report the news, we analyse the news. I mean, why? Well, a few reasons. I mean, you have a very supportive government. You have a very supportive PAGCOR. You have a PAGCOR that's open for business, that's actively going out and promoting the industry and looking for direct foreign investment. You have a population that likes gambling. You have a spread. It's not reliant on any one foreign source market like Macau is. Very reliant on China. It's got Koreans is the number one market, but it's also got Japanese. It's also got Westerners. You know, there's a broad market there. And there's just lots of gaming there, and there isn't the stigma against it that there is in some other places, and the government supports it, and you've got a pro-business government in place there in the Philippines at the moment. So I expect big things from the Philippines in 2024, as I expect from all Asian markets in 2024, but in particular the Philippines. Okay, let's move on to Macau. Now we have 3 stories from Macau this week. Story number 3, we're going to go 3, 2, 1. Levo Chan, or Levo Chan if you like in English, Chan Li Wu in Mandarin. His sentence, he of course was the CEO, chairman of Tak Chun, definitely the second biggest junket after Sun City. He suffered a similar fate to Alvin Chow. He's had his sentence reduced on appeal from 14 years to 13 years. Not a massive reduction, but a year's a year. However, his fines have been increased. So what's happened here to him is something similar to what's happened to Sun City and to Alvin Chow, is that he's been acquitted of fraud against the gambling operators themselves, the concessionaires themselves, and the court has come out and said that there will be no debt to the GOs, the gaming operators. Previously, there was a finding in the first court of 25 million against Mr. Chan himself, out of a total of 70 million US for all of the associated people with Tak Chun, but that's been wiped out. But the debt to the government, the amount that's owed to the government, has been increased, surprise, surprise, and that is now up to US $310 million, which is a very large amount of money. Similar situation to Alvin Chow. It's been increased dramatically. In Alvin Chow's case, it was tripled to US $3.2 billion, so about 10 times the size of the Tak Chun equivalent. So those guys are in a world of hurt, and their appeals, well, Alvin Chow never even got his sentence reduced at all, and he won on appeal, but ended up owing more money in total in terms of judgments against him, and the same thing has happened there with Mr. Chan. Alright, let's move on to now another interesting story this week, kind of an end of an era story. The Macau Jockey Club will be losing its concession, its 24.5 year concession that it was granted in 2018 is going to end just 6 years in on the 1st of April this year. Look, this has been coming for years. The writing was on the wall when they came out last year and said they wanted to reduce all of the prizes by 30%, and there was a big furore against that from the jockeys and the owners and so forth. It reminds me of what happened to the Canadrome some years ago, the dog racing track in Macau, when it closed down. When they were given the 24.5-year concession, much longer concession than the casino operators got. They only got a 10-year concession. When they were given that 24.5-year concession back in 2018, that was contingent upon an investment of 1.5 billion US dollars. Obviously, that never happened. And look, it's just not profitable. It's just no longer profitable. Horse racing is going down all over the world, particularly the way it was run in Macau made it go down. Why would you be interested in horse racing in Macau in this day and age when you have these amazing casinos? Perhaps it was very interesting back in the Stanley Ho days when the casinos were not so amazing, but now they are amazing, and the modern punter of today is much more likely in Macau to go to the Venetian or Galaxy or the Londoner or MGM or Wynn than he or she is to go to the racing track, and that's that. And look, we've seen this happen in Singapore as well. The Singapore Turf Club now closed down, or shortly to close down. They've announced that. So there's 289 horses in Macau at the moment, thoroughbred racing horses. They will all be shipped to the mainland apparently, or elsewhere, but probably the mainland. The Macau Jockey Club has until the 31st of March 2025 to do that, so they have a year. Certainly hope they do the right thing by the horses, and that's the end of it. So that land will go back to the government. And the really interesting thing now is what will happen to that really large piece of prime real estate, quite close to Galaxy, quite close to Cotai. All sorts of discussions about that. Will there be a theme park? Will it just be developed for property? I hope not. I hope something good for the people of Macau will happen there at that large, wide open space. Let's see. All right, on to our number one story for the week, and that is that Citi Investment Bank came out and said that they predicted the EBITDA for Q4 2023 in the upcoming earnings season will be up industry-wide or Macau-wide by 6% quarter-on-quarter sequentially. They predicted the industry margin, EBITDA margin of 28.5%, very healthy margin for EBITDA, would remain constant, but Macau is becoming more profitable, and of course we expect that with lower VIP, higher mass. The DICGA came out recently and said the split was 80-20 mass to VIP. Of course it's not that, it's even higher mass, but that's a story for another day. It's just the way the DICJ counts the split. So Macau going to be even more profitable, and that's to be expected. And Macau deserves it after all those years of going through the pandemic. Do not forget that time. There's still a lot of debt to be repaid that was built up during that time. All right, well, that's it for this weekend from here from Hobart and Tasmania in Australia. My sort of holiday continues. I'm still working, but at least I'm in casual outfit in Australia, going around my properties in various cities in Australia, meeting with key industry stakeholders here in Australia, as well as having a little bit of time in my I won't say homeland, but I'll say my original land. And the run will, of course, continue. I'm off to Melbourne tomorrow for you, Saturday for me, and I'll be there for just a few days. And then it's Bangkok, Phnom Penh, London for ICE, Larnaca, which, of course, for City of Dreams Mediterranean, Incheon for Inspire, and then finally back home to Hong Kong and Macau. That's the plan over the next few weeks. And that's it from me. Have a great weekend, and bye from now. See you next week. See ya.
Run.